Okay, let's go.
All right, let's get right into it. We spend so much time thinking that success in trading is all about finding some secret indicator or the perfect strategy. But the hard truth? The most difficult, most volatile market you will ever face isn't on your screen. It's right there in the 6 inches between your ears. So today, we're going to run the gauntlet of trading psychology. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? I mean, you can be a walking encyclopedia of chart patterns, you can know all the theory inside and out, but if you can't handle your own emotions when the pressure's on, when it's time to actually click buy or sell, then none of that knowledge matters. You're just going to be average. This isn't about what you know, it's about how you act.
Because that's where the real trading desk is. It's not your fancy setup with all the monitors. Nope. It's that internal battlefield where fear, greed, hope, and pure frustration are in a constant tug of war for control. And every single decision you make has to get past them first. Learning to manage that internal chaos? Well, that's the whole game.
So how do you actually build that skill? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, and maybe a little weird. To truly master discipline, you first have to practice failure on purpose. I know, it sounds completely backward, but stick with me because this might be one of the most powerful training exercises you'll ever come across.
Okay, here's how you do it. First, you open a demo account, no real money involved. Then, you just go nuts. You do everything you're told never to do. Chase a stock that's already taken off. Use way too much leverage. Get rid of your stop losses. But the most important step is number 3. As you do all this, you have to pay attention to how it actually feels. Notice that knot in your stomach? That frantic hope that it'll just turn around? You are building an emotional memory of what bad trading feels like, but in a totally safe space. And this is where the magic happens. A few days or weeks later, you go back and look at those trades. With some emotional distance, the mistakes are going to be so painfully obvious. You'll see the chart with clear eyes, and you'll just be thinking, what on earth was I doing? That moment of clarity, that what was I thinking feeling, that's what stops you from making the exact same mistake when your real money is on the line. And that's the big takeaway from all this. Look, anyone can find a good trade here and there. That just makes you capable. But becoming consistently profitable? That doesn't come from your winning trades. It comes from systematically avoiding those catastrophic account-killing mistakes. It's all about playing great defense.
So with that defensive mindset in place, let's start naming our enemies. Let's call out the specific psychological traps you're going to face in that mental gauntlet. Because once you can name them, you can start to see them coming and hopefully disarm them.
It pretty much all starts with this fundamental problem, the trader's paradox. And isn't this wild? When a trade is working, when we're in profit, we get all nervous and risk-averse. We snatch those profits off the table way too early because we're terrified of losing them. But the second a trade goes against us, suddenly we become these massive risk takers, willing to let a small loss turn into a huge one, just hoping to get back to even. It makes no sense, and it's the fuel for almost every bad decision. So the first and most obvious trap that comes from that paradox is averaging down. You're in a losing trade, and instead of just taking the small hit, you think, I know, I'll buy more down here. The hope is to lower your average price and sneak out with a tiny profit or a break even. But the brutal reality is that you're throwing good money after bad. And sure, this might work 9 times, but it's that 10th time when the trade just keeps going against you that can completely wipe you out. This one is just deadly. You go into a trade with a crystal clear plan. This is a day trade. I'm in and out today. But it doesn't work out. It goes against you. And instead of following your plan and taking the loss, you tell yourself, I'll just hold it overnight. It'll come back. And just like that, you've turned a failed day trade into an unplanned, unwanted, and probably terrible investment, all because your ego couldn't handle being wrong.
This right here, you should probably write this down and tape it to your monitor. You can always get back into a trade. There will always be another opportunity tomorrow. But trying to mentally and financially recover from one massive, soul-crushing loss, that is incredibly hard. Just take the small, planned loss and live to trade another day.
Ah yes, FOMO, the fear of missing out. This is called the deadliest of all trading sins for a very good reason. You see a stock or a coin just ripping higher, and you feel that panic in your chest, that frantic urge to jump on board because you're terrified of missing out on the easy money. In that moment, your trading plan goes out the window, your rules disappear, and you're just chasing. That's not a strategy, that's just pure, unadulterated emotion. So what's the antidote? It's beautifully simple. Before you smash that buy button, you have to force yourself to stop and ask one question. What is my risk to reward on this trade? If you can't immediately and clearly define where your stop loss is and where your profit target is, then you know it's a FOMO trade. It's a little splash of cold, logical water on a purely emotional impulse.
Now, this trap is a little different. It's not about making one bad trade, it's about being so completely overwhelmed that you either make no trades or you make sloppy ones out of frustration. Imagine trying to watch like 20 different markets at once. It's impossible. You end up seeing good setups after they've already happened, getting frustrated, and then forcing a bad trade just to feel like you're doing something.
And finally, we have the ghost of trades past. This is that lingering fear from your last bad trade or your last losing day. A perfect setup appears on your screen, it checks every single one of your boxes, but you freeze. You can't pull the trigger. Why? Because you're still thinking about the money you lost yesterday. You're letting a past event dictate your actions in the present moment, and that fear is making you miss a perfectly good opportunity.
So we've all heard the scary statistic, right? 90% of traders fail. It's this huge, terrifying number that makes you wonder why anyone would even try.
But here's the critical piece of context that nobody talks about. That 90%? They don't fail by having their account slowly bleed out over hundreds of small losses. No. Most of them fail because they fall into one of the massive traps we just talked about. They blow up their entire account on just a handful of really, really bad trades. See, failure isn't a slow process. It's a catastrophic event, and it's almost always caused by a psychological breakdown. Okay, so we've laid out all the traps, we've seen the enemy. Now, how do we build the winning mindset to actually navigate all of this? This is the most important part, shifting how you even think about what the market is.
I absolutely love this quote. Think about it. In pretty much every other area of our lives, we look for comfort, for certainty. But trading is the complete opposite. It's all about managing uncertainty and taking calculated risks. You have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be okay with not knowing exactly what's going to happen next. If you're a perfectionist, this is going to be your biggest hurdle. And that leads us to the 3 pillars of a professional, probabilistic mindset. Number 1, you have to truly accept that anything can happen at any time. Number 2, because of that, you have to let go of perfection. No setup, no matter how good it looks, is ever a sure thing. And that brings us to number 3. Your job is not to be a fortune teller. Your job is to be a casino. You find a setup that gives you a slight statistical edge and you execute on it over and over and over again. You'll lose some hands for sure, but over the long run, because of probability, the house always wins.
And really, it all comes down to this one simple idea. Trade defensively. Your number 1 job as a trader is not to make money. Your number 1 job is to protect the capital you already have. Always use a stop loss. Accept small losses gracefully. Stick to your plan no matter what. If you can do that consistently, the math, the probabilities of your system, will take care of the profits over the long term.
So there you have it. You've seen the gauntlet. You know the traps that are waiting for you, and you know the mindset that it takes to win. The only question that's left is the one you have to ask yourself. You know the path, but is your mind actually ready to walk it?